This Callaway Paradym Triple Diamond is $7.99. This WIlson Dynapower Carbon's $5.99. Do you think that this WIlson can keep up with the Callaway at a $200 difference? Let's find out which one of these drivers is moving on in the 2023 driver bracket. So I was talking to a lot of you subscribers that wanted to see more affordable drivers in my 2023 driver bracket, and we got our hands on the WIlson Dynapower Carbon. This is replacing, if you watched my behind the scenes video, the Tours Edge C22. Since that's last year's driver, I'm not gonna hit it in this year's. And by popular demand, we did get our hands on this year's Tour Edge Exotics C23. So now we have two affordable drivers going up against the Callaway Paradym. I'm interested to see if one of these drivers can outperform arguably the most talked about driver of 2023. I'm gonna hit all of these drivers, only one driver is moving on. Let's find out who that is. So if any of you guys are new to the channel, I'm using a TrackMan, a Pro V1 RCT ball. We're filming in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where the elevation is 3,428 feet. I'm using the stock shaft options for all of these drivers, and I'm gonna start with the WIlson Dynapower Carbon. So this is my first time even looking at this driver, first time hitting this driver, so I can give you my overall feedback. In this head to head, because now we got three drivers in, I'm gonna tell you the differences, and I'm also gonna tell you the similarities I see between all of these drivers. Visually, looking at this Dynapower from address, it looks awesome. I really like the look of this. I wanted to try the carbon, so WIlson makes two different driver heads. They make it in the carbon and the titanium. Because the majority of drivers this year are using a ton of carbon, I wanted to see how this carbon matched up to, of course, the Paradym, which has carbon, as does the Tours Edge. So I have this head in a 9° and I put the shaft setting at neutral. So the way this works is the winner of this driver bracket is the best combination of distance and accuracy. I'm gonna take 15 hits of each driver. We're then gonna subtract the average yards offline of the total distance, leaving us with a long and accurate driver. Only one of these drivers is moving on. Let's start with the WIlson. So the shaft that WIlson sent me is the Hazardous RDX Smoke, which is actually last year's driver shaft. A lot of the driver shafts in the drivers I'm testing this year are the Gen 4 Hazardous Black. So the other two are the Gen 4 in the Callaway and the Tour Edge. So this WIlson's getting a ton of love online from a lot of other reviewers. The reason why I do this driver bracket is to give you first-hand information on what the best driver is on the market. So if a driver that's $200 less can outperform an expensive driver, that would be beneficial for you guys to pick up. So that's kind of why I'm hitting all these drivers. There we go. So that right there so far has been my best hit. 315 carry, 345 total. My spin is optimal at 2,200 RPM. So far I can definitely see this driver competing. That's a lot of roll. I could get my launch up a little bit, but if that's rolling 35 yards, that's pretty far roll. Yeah. Have we found a bad driver yet? No, we haven't found a bad driver yet in this entire bracket. I would say 2023 is the most competitive driver year. So many manufacturers are putting a ton of research and development into these drivers. And if you can get one into a more affordable price line, like, can't hate on that. So in previous years, I've taken out my worst hit and my best hit when looking at my averages. I'm not doing that this year. I'm human just like you guys. I'm gonna have missed hits on the course, and I wanted to keep this in when considering the best driver of 2023, because I also want it to be forgiving. So if I have a crazy hit offline, this should show the forgiveness of these drivers. This driver's awesome. So far, like, I actually do quite like it. I wish it just had a little bit more pop, sound-wise. For a carbon head, I think it sounds probably the most dampened of any carbon head that I've hit this year. One more, uno más. There we go, it's a big one. All right, that's 15 hits with the Wilson. Now I'm gonna hit the Callaway. We still have the Tour Edge to hit. At the end is when I'm gonna compare all the data so we can find the winner. So let's hit this Callaway. So Callaway had 3 different heads to choose from. When I did my initial Paradym review, I settled on the Triple Diamond. It's way easier to hit than last year. It's their lowest spin head, and it was the head that I liked the best. Visually, it has that new blue kind of turtle carbon. There's a lot of carbon on this driver head, and the face it looks like it to be laser etched. From a distance, it looks milled, but I believe it is laser etching. Visually, it definitely looks different than that Wilson we just took a look at. That blue is kind of take it or leave it. When I saw it online, I didn't love the blue, but in person, it looks actually a lot better. The shaft that I'm using is the Hazardous Black Gen 4, so the newest Hazardous shaft. Settings are on neutral. There's no weights that you can move in the back, so we have the heavyweight forward, lightweight in the back. Let's start hitting. Ah, yes, I felt that one. So far, I would say that the Triple Diamond is way less forgiving than the Wilson. I've just had 2 hits. I lost way to the right, and I didn't have enough timing to square the club face, where I think I had similar hits with the Wilson that kept closer to the line, but I'll have to confirm that when we look at the data at the end. Looking at the numbers so far, this is actually a lot closer to the Wilson as far as data goes than I was expecting. This is probably gonna be the most yards offline, I think, with this driver. So there we got our fastest swing at 120 club head speed, and I couldn't hit that with the Wilson. So I would say feel-wise, when I catch it on the screws, like my absolute best hit, the Paradym feels better. But because it's a less forgiving head, I actually find that the Wilson felt better for the majority of my shots. Last one. Okay, that wraps up our session with the Callaway. Just for a teaser, how about I show you guys, or tell you anyway, the best drive that I had of both of those. So it looks like I had a couple with the Wilson that were right around 345. So how about this one? A nice tight draw. It's only 10 yards off of the line, 311 carry, 345 total. Let's look at the Paradym. Well, we got one that definitely went further. That was a big cut. 351 total, 322 carry. Further offline, so we'll have to see if the accuracy of that Wilson longest drive will outperform this one, but we'll get into that later. Okay, the last driver that we have to hit is this Tour Edge Exotics C723. Let's go. Netcoins is a regulated North American crypto trading platform. With over 35 coins to choose from and no funding fees, getting started is easy. Join with my referral code NEWNINE and get $25 cash reward when you trade $100 worth of crypto. Sign up today on netcoins.com/US or netcoins.com/CA. So this stock shaft option is that same Gen 4 Hazardous Black that I just hit in the Paradym. Visually, this looks the most different from a dress, kind of the top-down view. Looking at the crown of the club, there's this big T breaking up the carbon. So it's a big black T, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. To be honest, it looks like this driver's wearing a thong. As weird as that sounds, visually, I don't know if I could get past looking at that. It's just different. There's a lot of carbon on this driver on both the sole and the crown, and this head does have movable weights. So I put it on the draw setting because that's typically what I do on any driver that has a movable weight system, is I'll favor the draw side. So that did not sound like a carbon driver. That sounded very tinny, loud, titanium sounding. When I look at a carbon driver, that's not at all what I expect it to sound like. It doesn't sound good. I'll tell you that, it does not sound good. But sound's only a piece of the puzzle. That was still 2,500 spin, 309 carry, 339 total, 119 club head speed. It's fast, right? So sound is only a part of the equation. If you told me I could also hit a Tour's Edge 340, I might not have believed you. I don't know why I just think of Tour Edge as like a cheap brand. All of the marketing goes towards seniors, doesn't it? I thought like Bernard Langer plays Tour's Edge, and I don't know if Scott McCarron plays Tour's Edge. Like I just thought there was some big Champions Tour guys playing Tour's Edge. Like it's keeping up there. This is gonna be a really tight driver race. That's big numbers, dude. Gotta get it up a little higher. What I like about this driver is the consistent draw it's giving me. Like of the 3 drivers that I've hit, this seems to be like the most consistent one I can turn over. That's big, dude. That's big, dude. Oops. I didn't mean that, baby. How about you come upstairs and Happy give you the old smoochy smooch kitschy wissy, huh? I wanna kiss you all over and over and again. Da, 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 till the night closes in. I'm surprised how much I like this. I don't like looking at it. The thong driver, not a huge fan of the visuals. Doesn't sound very good, in my opinion. But results speak for themselves. So if I have to listen to this driver while I'm hitting 344 bombs, tight draws, this might upset. And I was not expecting that. No, I wasn't. Crazy. Does it have 180 ball speed in it? I don't think so. Pretty fast. Okay, your boy is sweaty. Daily reminder, drink some water. After that, we're gonna get into the data. Whew, okay. I wanna be the advocate for drinking water the same way Bob Barker is the advocate for spaying and neutering dogs and cats. Drink your water, guys, it's good for you. Okay, enough parenting our little viewers. Overall thoughts on that Tour's Edge is I was thoroughly impressed. I think that might have been the best session between the 3, but the data will have to back it up. WIlson was really good out of the gate. It surprised me. Looks good, sounded more dampened than other drivers. Callaway, I didn't have my best session dispersion-wise, but I got big numbers. Tour's Edge was also really good all around. So why don't we look at the shot tracers of all of them. Okay, so this is the dispersion, the white lines with the WIlson. These are my shot tracers. Couple left, couple right. That's normal for me, but it looks like relatively tight dispersion. My average carry was 310, average total was 336 with optimal spin. Onto the Paradym, I had a few more get away from me, and I was talking about the forgiveness of the head. These are the ones that I just lost, and I felt like I lost more to the right than any of the 3 drivers that I hit, and they're all on similar settings. 313 carry, 339 total. So how does that compare to the WIlson? Within a couple yards, really close, right? 3 yards in carry, 3 yards in total. So far the Callaway average is the furthest between the 2. Then onto the Tour's Edge, tightens up a little bit, some draws, some cuts, 313 carry, 341 total. So the average so far is longer by just 2 yards over the Callaway. Let's take a look at the dispersion. So let's look at the WIlson. Pretty good. They all stayed in bounds for the most part. 3 went way right. This is my traditional miss. If you've seen a bunch of my videos, I'm gonna miss a bunch over here. But I had 1, 2, 3, 4 super tight to the line. The rest of these are all in play, middle of the fairway. I would take that. Let's look at the Paradym. This comes down to the forgiveness of the head. So this year's Triple Diamond is way more forgiving, I think, than last year's, but I just didn't have a really good session with it, and that'll happen. I put it right in the middle because I wanted to hit the inexpensive driver, expensive driver, inexpensive driver. So I thought all things being equal, I would be swinging it as good, and some I just couldn't time up. But you look at the ones that I hit on the screws, right? Here's 7, so almost 50% of them are right by that line, but compared to the WIlson, I had more in play. So we need an accurate and far driver, so I'm not sure how the math will work in favor of the Callaway. We'll get there though. Last one is the Tour's Edge. Very similar dispersion, I think, to the WIlson. I had a tight collection of 5 left, 5 right, 2 right down the line, and then a couple just in the rough. So again, this is WIlson, Callaway, Tour's Edge. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Keep in mind too, so what's maybe an unfair advantage, potentially, it's up to your guys' opinion, the Tour's Edge has that movable weight. So I was able to move that to a draw setting. I don't love putting heads on the draw setting because it plays with the lie angle when I put it down to address. So I don't love looking at faces that are open or closed. Potentially I could dial them even better, but I like just being able to move that weight. So I really like that in the Tour's Edge. Okay, from here we have to do some math. So quick math break, and then we'll break it down from 3rd place to 1st. Okay guys, let's start with the WIlson. So the total average distance of the WIlson Dynapower Carbon was 336.3. Hella far driver, awesome driver. So the average yards offline that I was with the WIlson was 18.88. Therefore, your total number of distance minus dispersion is 317.42. Awesome performance by the WIlson. Now the Callaway was not my best driver session anyway. The way that I came to the Triple Diamond is in my initial Callaway review when I hit all of the heads, I had the tightest dispersion with the Triple Diamond. I had really good numbers. For whatever reason, I just didn't get the same performance today as I have in previous videos. Therefore, the total average distance was 339 even. Now the average yards offline was 33.95 yards offline. So it was the least forgiving driver of the three by far. Therefore, the total number of the Callaway Paradym Triple Diamond is 305.05. So the WIlson is actually outperforming the Callaway Triple Diamond, which I was not expecting. The last driver is the Tour's Edge. It actually had the longest total distance of 341.2 yards. It was also a very forgiving head, and the average yards offline was only 20.19. Therefore, the average for the Tour's Edge is 321.01. I can't believe this. The Tour Edge not only beat the Callaway, but it beat the WIlson, and the WIlson beat the Callaway. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it might be close. I actually thought that the Callaway would definitely outperform them both, but I really appreciate all of you subscribers putting both of those drivers on my radar. So that doesn't mean Callaway's a bad driver, because I've had better sessions than I had today. It was just kind of luck of the draw on how the Callaway performed today for me. Some of you guys might hit all of these three drivers and have better results with the Callaway. This was just my driver bracket, and the Tour's Edge is moving on. So the next head-to-head we have planned is the Cobra Aerojet LS versus the Ping G430 Max. Both of these are awesome drivers, but again, only one can move on. Once we wrap up that video, I'll then tell you what we have planned for the semis. That wraps up today's video. Blown away, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are. Tour Edge, put it on your radar. And we'll check in with you next time.